Time for the Monday Morning Analyst right here on the MMA Hour. So here's what I'm not going to do. I can't show you footage style for anything because then we get sued and our video gets taken down. But I've got some clips. I've got 3 fights we're going to show. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go through a couple of the clips from Fedor versus Sonnen, including that back take. We're going to go through it. But here's what I'm also going to do. No one is talking about this, and I really don't know why, other than, yes, it happened on, PFL 9 was a great show on Saturday, but it got a little bit drowned out with all the Fedor talk. Did y'all see what Vinny Magalhães did over the weekend? Oh, my God. He had an incredible Kimura and a ridiculous sweep, which we're going to go over. But he also had a Kimura from triangle that was sublime. Truly, truly sublime. I mean, it's about as perfect a submission as you're maybe ever going to see from guard. Absolutely artwork. We're going to go through that as well. First, of course, we have to go through some of the stuff here. I had forgotten with this Fedor and Sonnen bout, I had forgotten that Sonnen was a southpaw. I actually went back and watched some of his other fights to verify that. Yes, in fact, he is a southpaw. Now, I've got just a few clips of this. We're going to go through them. I'm not sure which one this is. Oh, I think this is I'm going frame by frame here, the zone. This is the punch he lands. You're going to see Sonnen come in. By the way, I've been very grappling heavy for the last few weeks. It's only because that's what most of the action's been, but we will get to some of the striking stuff as the weeks develop. But what you're going to see here is you're going to see Fedor land the punch. 2 things you're going to notice. Number 1, how accurate it is, and number 2, how powerful it is. I want you to notice something else that Fedor does that you can go back to watch him in Pride, and he didn't do a lot of. I'll show you that right now. First of all, look at Fedor, always on the balls of his feet. See that? Like a tennis player. Ever seen a tennis player waiting for a serve? They're always on the balls of their feet because that's what they, or a goalkeeper in soccer, because they're waiting to make a leap or a move, right? He's always on the balls of his feet, kind of got that upright posture, but he's got his weight lowered. That's going to allow him to sit down on his punches, really put maximum power into him. Here's what I want you to see. He doesn't really set it up. He doesn't really, I don't want to bag on Sonnen. I'm just saying, like, the tape shows what the tape shows. Doesn't really set it up. And you can see, by the way, whenever you do a double, you want to be able, as a rule of thumb, to reach out and touch them. This is where they need to be for a double. So he's already kind of far away. Then he doesn't really set it up, and he comes in. Fedor measures with the left. Watch this. He gets out of the way and comes in under the right. What do you notice about this punch that's a little bit different than the Fedor from Pride? Fedor from Pride was a little linear this way, and he would throw these like looping Russian hooks. The Russian boxers are kind of known for this a little bit, or at least they used to be. And a lot of the Sambo fighters do this too. They have these really windy hooks, which is fine if you're quick enough, and he was. Here, he's throwing a punch. He did the same thing to Mir. He's actually getting off the center line. That is not something he used to do very well, and now he's incorporated it. You were hearing Chael Sonnen talk about some of these developments and improvements to his game. Here's one right here. And by the way, he punches in combination. Sonnen gets drilled with that right, and then look, Fedor comes back and drills him with the left. Right? Nice shot, right? So he gets off with the right. He gets underneath the punch. His hips are already loaded this direction. So when he comes around and pivots and throws with this one, he cracks him on the jaw. Nice shot, right? So there's that. All right, let's jump around and move forward, shall we? To the next one. All right, here's the next one. Where are we going with this one? Let's see. I believe this is one of the failed takedowns, right? So we're going frame by frame here, DAZN, because that's what we do. Bouncing in and out. Fedor throws a punch. All right, and then Sonnen leans a little bit out of the way. That's nice. Let's see. He throws his own right, and he tries to clinch. Let's see what happens. All right, so this clinch, when your arm is like this high, it's not necessarily the end of the world, but just think about where you have the most balance. It's when your shoulders are square. So he tries to remove it. Fedor tries to spin. This is amazing. Hold on, watch this. So Chael is going to take him to the weak side. The weak side is going to be here, right? He's going to step, and then eventually, if he finished the takedown appropriately, would switch his hips. I want you to watch something. Fedor is famous for this. He's done this in a million bouts in Pride. Fedor has incredible balance. I believe he did this in the Naoya Ogawa fight, if I'm not mistaken. He has ridiculous one-legged ability to redirect a takedown that's not completed with appropriate authority. And he can reverse it. Let's see where he goes. So he plants the leg here, right? And now what is this? It's almost like a it's almost like an Uchimata. A Harai Goshi would be if the non-planted leg was on the outside of the hip. Harai Goshi is major outside reap. Uchimata is between the legs. It's really neither of those because the leg is on the other side. I don't know what the name of this is in judo, but here's the point. What is he doing? Right? He is balancing on this leg and he's going to lean forward to bring Sonnen's weight up and forward. Imagine going over a diving board. If I lean and lean and lean and I keep doing that, eventually I'm just going to fall over into the water, right? There's going to be a point where you tip over. That's what he's doing here. He's grabbing him almost by the head. Sonnen has attached himself to him. He's going to plant his weight. He's going to lean forward to bring the weight of Sonnen up. Once he's up, now he's light. Then you can redirect it. So it's a question of let me make him light and then turn him. So now he's light, and now you can almost just, you see how he throws the leg up? This forces the hips over of Chael Sonnen and then brings Fedor on top. And look at Fedor land on his shoulder and roll to keep his hips, watch this. This is the part I love the most. Basically on top, and he hooks that leg, by the way, the far leg. Let me go back a little bit. He hooks the leg. When does he hook it? He hooks it on the roll through there, right there. He brings it through, and that's to keep his hips on top and facing the mat. So the whole time he goes through this, one more time here. You can see the leg, it doesn't go in between. This leg doesn't go in between or out in front, and yet he's still able quickly, because Sonnen being attached and the takedown was loose, he's able to throw this in the air, raise the base of Sonnen up in the air, and then redirect him mid-throw to come out and roll on his shoulders on top. And then he hooks the leg to prevent Sonnen from coming up. Remember, whenever you have a takedown, to the extent possible, you want your hips facing the mat, right? Because think about it. If my hips are facing the mat, I'm landing on all fours. Or if for a ground and pound, that enables me to open up. It's when your hips are facing the sky, it's a problem. Now here, of course, they're facing over here, but it allows him to then turn and look whose hips are facing the mat. Right? Nice little adjustment there. Okay, here is the part where everyone's like, this was fixed. Bellator's out here fixing fights. No, they're not. It's just a poorly executed, so I don't know what they call it either. There's lots of guys who are good at this. Danny Segura was telling me that Jussier Formiga did it in one of his fights. I don't really remember that. I'm sure it's true. I'm just saying I don't really remember it. But in sports jiu-jitsu, you see it all the time. There's a lot of different ways to set it up. I've seen guys do it. Douglas Lima was talking about it, having double unders from the back. That's not the way I was ever taught it. Remember, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, I talked about the Marcelo Garcia over-under? The hand that comes over the top is stabbing. The one that comes underneath secures the stab. I know that is a fairly gruesome mnemonic device to remember how this goes, but that's the way it works. Arm over the shoulder stabs the heart, underneath the one secures the stab. That's the way to do it. And what you're looking for is you want to have the person, when you roll through, you have to, I'm telling you, hard. You have to attach them to you. Think about, it was from the back, it was a little bit different, but think about Luke Skywalker and Yoda in the Dagobah system. And Luke Skywalker's running around and he's flipping over shit, whatever. And Yoda was with him the whole time. It's because they were attached. They were together. If that grip is not tight enough, it will not work. It has to be super, super, super tight. So when you flip over with no hooks, they don't have a choice to go with you because they're locked, right? But here was the other key component. Whenever you do a throw, let me fast forward a little bit so we can get to it. Okay. Hold on, I missed it. Okay. Whenever you do something like this, to me, his base is a little too high in the air. Yeah, all right. His base is a little high. I'm going to go closer to 10 because I just need more time. His head is too far forward. What you're looking for is you want to stuff the back of their head underneath them. If I take someone on all fours and I stuff their head underneath them, the body will roll. That's how you do it. Think about the arm bars. I've talked about this a million times. You ever seen people do arm bars and they'll do it where they take their whole body and they'll come off the back like this and they'll extend their whole body? First of all, they're not doing it right because they're extending their legs. You really don't really, you want to extend your hips, but not your legs. Two different things. That's the first problem. The other problem is they never put the shin behind the head. Ronda Rousey was super good at that. She'd put the shin behind the head so when she rolled through, the opponent would come out on top. That's how you do it. Go back and look at a three-quarter stack. What is a three-quarter stack? It is driving the head and then a hand underneath the armpit, and you're turning them. It's the same motion for all these different ones, for the back take, for the three-quarter stack, and for the Jujigatami. You got to stuff the head inside so the body comes over. The way it was taught to me was you drive a shoulder into the back of their head, and your head posts on the outside. You roll over to that same side, you attach them with the over-under, you bring them to you, and you go through. Here, I don't see any evidence of that. Look at how high his base is. Look at already the separation. Now, some of that is probably okay, but look, Fedor's head never gets stuffed, and Chael does a headstand. There's no attachment here. There's no stuffing of the head from what I can tell. And so he just comes, look, he's attached, but not very strongly. And Fedor just sits up. Look at that. He didn't really stuff the head. And by the way, whenever you do something like this, let's see one more time. I don't mind that he went to his head first, but what shoulder is stuffing the head of Fedor here? It's not the left one. It's not the right one. You have to drive that shoulder in, and then the head goes diagonal to the mat. Now, there's other ways to do it. Maybe Douglas Lehman knows a better way. I don't know, but that's the way I've always been showed it, is that the shoulder does the work, and then the head posts on the mat, so that by the time you roll, it's already tucked. Which shoulder is pushing the head? I mean, yes, his chest is pushing the head down, but that's not enough. You got to drive that thing. You got to pull there. You have to push on one end of the spine so that the whole body comes over. There's none of that here. So folks are like, it's fixed. It's not fixed. It's just a badly executed technique. And there's a takedown here. Oh, let's go to this mount real quick. Watch this mount, and then we'll go to the Vinny Magalhães stuff because we got to move on. Let me see how he takes it here. All right. So he's in half guard. He's trying to secure the head. See that? How do you take mount? Go back and watch how Gordon Ryan takes mount on everyone. He does it different ways each time, but there's one consistency each time. It's that he has shoulder pressure and is controlling the head and neck to prevent the hips from moving. If the head and neck are tightly controlled, the hips can't really move all that well. That's what this has to be in place before you go. This is loose. There's not really a whole lot here. You can see it's up around almost like the crown of the head. That's not what you need. You need it tucked under, right? So let's see. Let's see him try to take him out here. All right. He's going to punch. Hold on, just fast forward this. Boo shit. All right. Here we go. Now look at this. He's got some shoulder pressure here, but Fedor's looking at the ceiling. He needs to have this pushed over. You have to hurt him. You have to hurt your opponent and your uke, if it's judo. I think it's the uke. You have to make them look away. You have to, again, remember the shoulder with the back of the head to make them turn? You gotta drive that thing in there. So he's not really doing a whole lot of that. He's gonna push on the arm here to free his head. God, come on, Chael. Take this goddamn out. Here we go. All right, let's see. Now look, as he goes to take him out, you can fake the Kimura if you want. Yes, that's a way to do it. He goes to take him out. Fedor's already bucking his hips. Look at this. Once he let go of the head, what happens to Fedor's hips? They come right up. What's controlling him? Nothing. He comes right up. Chael posts his hand to stop the push. He tries to take it. Once you take mount, the instant you take it, you're the most vulnerable to be turned because you haven't settled into the position. And sure enough, that's when he does it. Look at the hips of Fedor. He always has done this. He's had really good, active, mobile, powerful hips. And look at that nice bridge. He doesn't bridge just to a side. He bridges diagonally over the shoulder. Chael tries to balance here, but he can't. He wraps the arm, turns his hips over. Look at him posting on the toes, and he just rolls through. Look at that, just rolls through. Boom. The pressure was too much. If the pressure underneath is so strong that it beats a hand that's posted, that's a very, 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 very powerful hip underneath. He's just so quick and dynamic. So he So what's the question there? One, the head and the neck weren't really controlled, and two, the timing on Fedor. As soon as Chael got to it, when the position hadn't settled, he drives. Really good timing. All right, in the interest of time, I'm going to move along because as good as this all was, sorry, shouts to Vinny Magalhães. The winner, the coolest thing that happened all weekend is from him. Let's jump to that now. All right. So here he is. By the way, real quickly, this is just a screenshot. I'm not going to show you anything this is from Quintet. This is what a standard triangle looks like, right? So here's what I want you to pay attention to. It's the left arm of Josh Barnett, and so it's the right side of the body. In other words, the arm that's being attacked and the locking of the triangle are on the same side. This Gordon Ryan's right, the left arm of Josh Barnett. But the left arm is across the body. That's typically how you get it. But what happens if they tuck the arm underneath the body so you can't get it across? Because a triangle choke works by one of the person's legs cutting off this carotid artery, and then this arm coming across, you can hear my voice change, and cutting off the other one. But what if I put it under, you can't do it? Well, that's when Vinny Magalhães shows you what time it is. Look at this. This was unbelievable. All right, he pulls guard here, right? Which I just love that he does in MMA now. He pulls guard, and I want you to notice something about this triangle. And this guy comes down, Cleveland. I do not know who this gentleman is. You'll have to forgive me. All right, look at this. What do you notice right away about this triangle once he locks it up? And by the way, he's grabbing his own shin. He's like, Vinny does everything correctly instinctually. What do you notice about this triangle? Real quickly, he's going to readjust it. Boom. What do you notice here? The lock is not on the same side as the arm. They're on opposite sides. Oh, isn't that clever, right? You don't see that too often. He jumped guard and right away knew that this guy was going to hide the arm. That's what everyone does in MMA. So he put the triangle lock on the other side. Why is that important? Because if you want to do a Kimura from triangle and the lock is on the same side as the arm, you can do it, but there's really no room. Very, very hard. You want to lock the other side. He switched to the other side and now does everything perfectly. But you can't square up on him. You got to get turned at an angle, right? If you're just in front of them, even if you put the lock on the other side, you don't have enough space to grab the arm. So what is Vinny going to do? He's going to turn at an angle. Watch. And this is the best part about it. And this guy tries to put the arm behind him. Not only does Vinny, you'll see him, he'll turn more in just a second. Here's the other part about it. Even if I turn and I just grab the arm, I might get a Kimura, but I got to break your hands apart from your body. Look at what he does. He plants his elbow on the ground, Vinny, his own elbow, grabs this other guy's wrist. Why is that important? Because no matter how hard you push and try to keep your hands together, you can't break this frame. The frame is more powerful than any kind of grip you can have or any kind of muscle you can have. So he's going to turn while, look at that, pulling the arm out by framing on the ground. Dude, this is ridiculously good. This is like ridiculously good, right? Now watch. He still doesn't quite have enough space. This guy's going to bring his leg up to block it. Now Vinny has one task here. He can get the arm through, but he's got to get it away from this guy's body. And it's going to take him a second to do it. He actually does the right thing. You actually would want to go low because the more you stand up, the more space you create. So this guy actually does the right thing in sitting for a bit, but the end is almost near. Now watch Vinny. Look at him up on his shoulder so he could corkscrew inside so when he comes back the other way, he's got enough attachment to it and he can give it enough torque, right? Watch this. This is ridiculous. Ready? He's going to pull back. So he sits his whole body weight forward, and now he's going to use that to lean back. That's going to bring this gentleman's weight forward. And now, watch this. He's going to attach the arm to his body and then bring his body back. If I try to wrestle your arm with my arm, I may or may not be successful. But if I attach your arm to my body and I pull, my body will beat your arm 10 times out of 10, which is exactly what you see here. Look at that. He uses his own body weight going back to pull it away from the body, and look at this torque. Checkmate. Checkmate. Dude, that is nasty. Super nasty. Dude, I couldn't believe. I saw this on Twitter on Friday night. or whatever it was, Saturday night, and no one was talking about this. I was like, did y'all not see the shit he did? And here's the best part. That's not even the only thing he did. With 1 minute we have left, well, I'll jump to the end here. Sorry, I took this from BJJ Scout because I couldn't find it anywhere else. It was on on his Instagram. Sorry, BJ. Hey, BJJ Scout, I stole your stolen footage. It's okay. All right. Hold on, watch this. So he pulls guard, and he tries to spin for an armbar, and it doesn't work. So he's like, all right, I'm going to switch to an omoplata. So he switches to the omoplata. He takes a couple punches in the process. All right, and so there's his omoplata. I want to show you this. Here's what Vinny is amazing at. Vinny knows all the common counters to your attacks. So what he does is he puts you in a position where you're going to go to your common defense. And when you go to your common defense, then he overwhelms you, right? That's what he does. So here, if you're this guy and you want out of this omoplata, how do you relieve the pressure on your arm? I mean, you could stand up and shake him off, or you can come around this way, right? You can come around this way. So that's what this guy tries to do. All right, here he is. Vinny anticipates this. Watch how he does this. Ready? Watch. He is waiting for this guy, and I'm going to show you what he's about to do. He's expecting this guy to keep going. Hang on. Hang on. Here we go. All right, watch this. This guy thinks that if I come around to this side, I'm good. But you can run against Vinny Magalhães. You will only die tired. Watch. He waits. He puts a hand here. Look at this. He's going to wait. He's blocking this, and he's going to push this, and he's going to turn him like this while he holds the bottom leg as he sits up, and now he's going to grab it and sit back, and he swept him just like that. Look at that. Well, it's not quite a sweep because a sweep's from a guard, so it's a reversal, but look at one more time. He just waits for it. He waits for the guy to come across. If you're going to do one of these things on him, you got to do it fast. If you do it slow, look at that. Stops it, turns him, underhooks the bottom leg, sits up, and now turns into him. And by the way, look at this Kimura. Look at this. We saw the other Kimura. Look at this one. Watch this. Sits his weight back, attaches it to him. Watch him drop his weight. Look at the left shoulder. Watch what he does with the left shoulder. Drops. Look at that. Are you shitting me? Look at that, dude. Again, if it's just his arm versus his arm, who knows? If it's his body weight versus your arm, it's a wrap for you, son. Ridiculous. I couldn't believe people weren't talking about Vinny Magalhães. That guy's a bad motherfucker, man. That's the Monday Morning Analyst.